welcome you guys to my first ever book review on this channel at all. Well, video book review. I've done a couple of just typed out. I am so excited. So the way that these book reviews are going to go is I'm going to first give my just honest book review. No spoilers. You don't have to worry about that. I will not give any spoilers away. And then after about the first like 5 minutes after I give that first honest review, I am then going to warn you guys, hey, what's coming next is going to have spoilers. I'm going to give adamant time, 5-10 seconds or so, to let anybody that has not read the book and does not want spoilers to hop off. I'm also going to say if the book has other books that it could spoil, I'm going to just list any of the books that it could spoil. So I'm very excited to say that the first book I'm going to be doing a book review is Sarah J. Maas's House of Flame and Shadow. This book was the last book of the Maas universe for me, and it was just such like I couldn't even reach the last chapter. I just had to sit there and be like, you guys, like after I finish this book, it's not gonna be over because first of all, she's publishing more, hopefully, but also like I can always go back and reread it. But I'm never gonna be able to go back and reread it for the first time again, and it was so just sad. I think that I picked up the A Court of Thorns and Roses book almost exactly 2 years ago, which is insane. First of all, that it took me that long to finish all, I don't even know, like 16 books, which is just insane. Um, okay, so getting down into the book review, I rated this a 5 star. With that being said, I am one of the people that I like, you see like those things that it's like there's a specific type of person in each book club. And there's one person that always reads everything 5 stars. That is me. I'm trying to get better at it because obviously not every book is gonna be like perfect. And it's not even that it's perfect. It's just not every book is gonna hold a candle to what some of the other ones have like made me feel. Um I rated it 5 stars. Part of me almost wants to say 4 stars. But like I also like can't do Sarah J. Maas like that. Like I just feel like I can't rate one of her books 4 stars because I love her work. It's amazing. Um I don't know. I had to give it 5 stars. It's still definitely up there. This book took me um almost exactly a month to read. I went on Goodreads and the only thing I could find was like started this book 1 month ago. So I couldn't find a date, which was honestly really annoying. The genre for it is romantasy, uh, fated mates, all of all of those tropes. I really really enjoyed it. There is spice to this book. I didn't. It took me a little bit of thinking of how to what I would rate it in spice level, and I think that I would rate it in 3. There are a few pretty spicy scenes sprinkled in, but I almost would have rated that a 2 if it wasn't for 2.5, if it wasn't for this such like vulgar language throughout the book. There's a lot of cussing, there's a lot of just like heavy language that I don't want to say. So just beware of that if you want to read this book. It is if you've read any of well, if you've read like A Court of Thorns and Roses, it's kind of the language is more harsh as far as the bad language goes, but the spice scenes are it's about where Silver Flames was. Maybe a little tiny worse. Um I have I have my little book review that I wrote here. Um I love this book and I just love Mass's writing style. I love how she can make you think that you know everything that that the main character brings you in to her entire plan, and you see it through like the main, well, it character's point of view a lot of times. And then she can still throw like a curveball in there that changes the whole story that you didn't see coming. And I love that, and I love how she does that. This book, you do see it switches from point of view. It's not in just one point of view. It is written in third person. Yes. It's written in third person. I should have double checked that. I literally just finished it. But I'm almost positive it's, yeah. It's written in third person. It switches from point of view to point of view. So if you're not someone that generally likes that, just be ready for that. Uh Towards the end it kind of switched so much between point of view that part of me liked it because the jumps kept me so involved, but then it also just kind of started making my head spin a little bit. My only complaint, if I were to have a complaint about this book, would be that after reading so many of Sarah J. Maas's work, the like ending, like the not the ending, but like specific like fight scenes and just like heavy scenes that she'll put in there, they've almost started to become predictable for me just because of how of that, because I mean I've read all of her other works, and I my cats are having it out. I hope that didn't pick up. But that would be like my only complaint, is that I just felt like to me it was starting to get predictable. But other than that, I loved it. It was amazing. I highly recommend the Crescent City series to anyone. For me, Crescent City, and the reason why I did it last is because for me, it was so daunting. I didn't want to pick it up. I was so scared to read it, and a lot of it was because I would see posts that it was like, oh, there's just so much information thrown at you all at once. I didn't feel like that. Like, yes, but also no. And I will say, if you feel like that at the beginning, she repeats all of that information throughout the whole book to where you'll be able to remember it, and like you won't don't focus so much on the information at the beginning that you're like, I have to remember all of this throughout the whole book, because you don't. She goes through it all. She repeats it. I think for me the biggest things was that there are houses, like factions, and like each different being falls into them, like vampires, angels, fae, all of them fall into like specific categories. And that for me, I think at the beginning I was like, I need to remember this, I have to. And you don't, because all throughout the series she's like, oh yeah, and then this angel belonging to da 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 da. um she 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 reminds you throughout the series almost exactly like when you need it, when you're like, oh, what house was that in, and then she'll like refer to that house like in that page. um and so for me that helped a lot, and I really liked it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna pause because spoilers are coming next. I'm gonna get in the nitty gritty, specific scenes, specific quotes. If you have not read Crescent City, and I'm gonna go even more, if you have not read Crescent City, ACOTAR, or Throne of Glass, stop this video now, save it for when you do, and you can come back because you're gonna want to come back. But if you have not read any part of the Sarah J. Maas universe, leave now because I'm going to be talking about probably all of it. So if you don't want any spoilers, if you continue on and you get spoilers for ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, or Crescent City, that is on you. I am giving you ample warning. All right, I am pulling up my notes, and we are going full surreal, and we're gonna spill the tea. I have my Kindle. You guys, I don't know if anybody's ever on the fence about getting a Kindle Scribe. I was on the fence about getting a Kindle Scribe for years. I love it. It was expensive. It was a whole purchase. So be ready for that. But I love mine. Okay. Honestly, this is just giving people to leave more time. All right. We're going to take a sip of water. And I have my notes. I'm going to try to go through it as much in order as possible. But first things first. You guys, the way she introduced the ACOTAR character, like, golden. I could not. I That was the thing that was spoiled to me. I was so angry. I hadn't even. I think I was like halfway through Throne of Glass, and I had joined a Facebook Sarah J. Maas thing, uh, group, and they didn't not allow spoilers. They also didn't make it to where if you had spoilers, you had to say it. Which honestly, why would you do that? Um, and so somebody had posted, and I read the post, and I didn't know what book it was. I didn't know what it was about until I read the spoiler, and it was that the ACOTAR people come in to Crescent City in the last book, and I was so angry because like it was just I was so mad. But and so it was just like the whole book. I was like, they come in, they come in. I'm so excited, and I was just waiting for it, and I just can't even imagine how much better it would have been for me if I didn't know that because and I'm going to tell you why. The way that she introduced them, even though I already knew that it was happening, flabbergasted. I was so enthralled. I mean, okay, one thing that did get me was that even though I knew, I thought that they were going to come in like the very ending for just like a little teeny tiny part. I had no idea that it was going to be really the end of book 2 going into book 3. That made it better. I like as soon as she went through the portal, first of all, as soon as they were talking about portals, I was like, portal to the other world, portal to I don't know. But it was just like as soon as she started talking about like the mist and this and that, it was just golden. And I loved it. It was just couldn't have been better. Um I love that they spoke different languages. That was just very because like as like a reader, I don't think about the fact that like a lot of different places speak and this is different languages and this was just me for other books as well. I think and it was just really it's just a really interesting like factoid whenever like writers put that in and I really enjoy it. Whenever they all started it all started coming together with Amarin, Rhysand, Bryce saying all of the history and all of the history started coming together. Finding out that the Star Sword was Gwydion was amazing. First of all, did anybody catch in one of the earlier books? I almost want to say book 1 that they had the life the book of the breathings there. I caught that. I was like, I've heard that before. Interesting. And that was amazing. Oh yeah, Book of the Breathings. It's right in here. Those glowing letters inked on her back. They're the same as Book the Breathings. That was Amarin. That was interesting. Also to now know that those letters are the Astiri's language. Oh well, I guess that makes sense because the Astiri made the cauldron. Cauldron made Book of Breathings. Oh well, did the cauldron make the Book of Breathings or did the Astiri make Book of Breathings? I think the Astiri would have. It was very very interesting how everything just started falling into place. Um, I thought it was really, really interesting that we mostly saw Nesta and Azriel throughout the whole book. And really, we mostly saw Nesta. And I thought that was very interesting. I feel like that's going to be kind of a plot going into the next ACOTAR book. I definitely think it's either gonna be in the point of view of Nesta again, or something to do with Azriel, or both. I that it just because she focused so heavily on Nesta and Azriel, because Cassian wasn't even in it hardly. Like, you saw him the most at the ending one, but he didn't even. I think he said one line. And so that was really interesting. You barely saw Rhysand. I like you had more just mentionings of like, well, you better leave because Rhysand's on his way, and Rhysand gets here, he's gonna break all hell loose. You had like more of that in it than anything. Finding out that the Asteri were what Rhysand and them called Daglin was great. I really enjoyed going through all of the whenever Bryce and Nesta and Azriel were in the caves, um, looking at all the carvings. That was very interesting to me. Going through the history. I'm not gonna lie, whenever they found the 8-point star, and then they were listening to the whole Celene's flashback, it started losing me. It was so much information thrown at all at once. It was like a whole story in and of itself. Like, I feel like she could do like a prequel to like that would be really interesting. If she did a prequel to like with Amarin and all of that would be really interesting. I would read that book for sure. Finding out that the Asteri had infected the water was just such a strange concept, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed them being. I almost feel like it was so easy for them to come up with a solution, but it also made sense that they had to like pull in the dead to to then also look at somebody else's blood that's alive, because I mean the dead wouldn't have the parasite, the alive would. I mean that was interesting to me. I really liked that. I really feel like Bryce and Rune are related to Rhysand in some way. But also with the light, the light's interesting because Rhysand doesn't have. Oh, well, no, because she got that from she got that from Selene and well Helena, yeah, she got that from her. So then and then I really feel like that they're related to Rhysand just from all of the references of how Rune looks so similar to Rhysand and all of this stuff. Someone floated it out there that Bryce is actually Asriel's mate, and I don't know. I don't vibe it because she's Hunt's mate, and they were like, okay, but what if Hunt's not her mate, and they're just um oh the word that they're connected to each other's power like in Throne of Glass, and I was like, hmm. And what if they're just that, and they just complement each other's magic, but they're not actually mates, and Bryce is actually Asriel's mate, and I was that's a very interesting concept, but I don't want to believe. I think Hunt and Bryce go together. I ship them for sure. But I don't know who I'd ship Azriel with. But I feel like that's a whole video that's a whole other that's an ACOTAR video. I loved how whenever first of all, Rune killing his dad, amazing. I first of all, I didn't see it coming. If you did see it coming, props to you. I'm definitely not one of the readers that is like, I need to figure out everything that's gonna happen. I don't want to. I want to be surprised. I'm here for the vibes. I want to be surprised. I don't want to know what's gonna happen next. I will say that was not with me with the new Fourth Wing book coming out. I tried so hard to figure out her second segment. It didn't go well. I was so far off. If you did figure it out, comment below because props to you. But it was very, very interesting. I really love that Rune killed his father. I thought it was exactly what Rune needed, and it was amazing, and it was wonderfully amazing. One of my favorite lines in this book is "Welcome to Hotel Horse." You know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying the word, especially on a video going on YouTube. That was I read that and I was like, that's a t-shirt. If there's there needs to be if there's not already a t-shirt that says that on it, there needs to be, and I will buy it. I don't know if I'm gonna wear it because I don't know if I'm gonna wear it because I will get judged so much by my family by wearing it. But I immediately read that sentence and was like, t-shirt. That's a for sure. T-shirt, something. It was so it was so funny. I loved it. Um and then when Ethan took the what the cure, not the cure, but the temporary cure for the poison, and then he could summon snow. Throne of Glass. Tell me, I I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read Throne of Glass, but I cannot remember specific enough people, and I can't remember someone that did had ice because I know Rowan had wind, Aelin had fire. I almost want to say it was no, Lorcan didn't have ice, did he? I can't. I cannot. Did Neve have ice? I can't. It's been so long. If there's to be a next treasure, I need to reread it. If you would have told me, I didn't know. I thought it was very, very interesting how Crescent City tied into both books. Loved it when they said that the the shifters are just Fae from another world. I immediately lost my marbles. I knew immediately it was Throne of Glass. I I loved it. I almost feel like I would love if the Crescent City continued in and like actually went into the Throne of Glass world. That would be amazing. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I love when they create. I love when authors create all of these worlds in different series and then connect them all together. I'm here for the connections and the interwebs and the all of it. Ethan and his character to me was very interesting. I love the character development. I love how he went from just this like Sunball player that was the little brother to his brother dying to him not to him just like joining the Ox, him falling out of Sunball. He wasn't into it anymore. He was very, very depressed by it. I don't know if I'd say depressed, but he had zero interest being alpha. But then throughout the whole series, there were little drops and hints that he was an alpha. I felt so bad for Ethan when he actually was able to save Sigrid, and then for him to be the one that killed her, that just I was not prepared for that, and I felt so bad for Ethan for having to go through that. It was horrible. And then he tried to resurrect her, and she turned into to a reaper, and that was just even worse. And I was like, no, Ethan. And then at some point, I was like, Ethan, you're just stop. You're gonna make it even worse. Just leave her alone. And then to the end of the book to become the Prime. That was amazing. I love Sabine needed to die, and the astronomer, yes. But I loved his character development. I will say I didn't feel like there was a big switch in his character development of when he became Prime. I had to really think about the fact that like, oh, he's Prime. He's Prime talking now. It more just felt like other people felt it more than him. And I feel like that's how she wanted it because even at the end, he said like he was excited for the other things, but not about being Prime. He didn't want to be Prime. I love at the end how there was a little bit of spark between him and Perry. I ship it, love it. Okay, can we talk about Agent Daybright? If I figured out that it was Lydia beforehand. That okay, well that's not fully true. Well, it is true, but I at first thought it was Celestina. If I'm butchering that name, okay, I didn't listen to the audiobook, so all of you audiobook people, don't come for me. I pronounce things how they're written. Don't come for me. But I thought it was gonna be Celestina at first, and then I was like, but then there was always something that was like, what if it's Lydia? What if it's the Hind? I feel like it's the Hind. And I actually texted a friend and I was like, I need to know, is Agent Daybright Celestina? And she was like, no. And I was like, it's the Hind. And I texted her and I told her. So there's proof that I figured it out beforehand. Although part of me wishes I didn't do that because I almost wish that there was like more. I feel like I ruined it for myself by doing that. But I needed someone to know that I figured it out. I was I could kind of see it coming just because of how powerful she was, all of the stuff. But then I kept being like, no, because then why would she kill all of those people? Why would she kill Sophie? And all of those, and it was just very interesting. I did not see it coming that she was mom. That was great. It made me like her that much better, and I feel like she integrated that in the story exactly where she needed to, and I loved it. It made me like the Hind much better. I really ship Rune and Lydia together. During the first book, really the first two books, I really liked Rune and Hypaxia together. Like I was like, yeah, that's great. I don't see anything wrong with it. Rune's starting to like her. I thought that they were gonna be endgame, not gonna lie. I really like them. Um, I love that they became mates. I love that like Lydia got her redemption. I love that Rune got her his redemption with Bryce, and then found his mate. That was just amazing. Therian was a whole whirlwind throughout the whole series. First of all, he made a lot of bad decisions, but I think that's how his character is written. Especially at the ending, whenever they were like, I think Sasia will be really, really good for you. I agree. I'm not really into like the forced marriages and stuff, but I think that I think that I like Therian and I said Sasa. Satya? Yeah, Satya together. Really like it. Um, the whole battle at the end with the there was a few things that I didn't see coming. I didn't see Rune shooting the Hind to then go protect the Sun. I thought that was dumb. I thought it was I thought it was like noble, but I think it was really dumb on Rune's part because then it didn't even work out for him. Uh, but I did like it. I didn't see it coming. A lot of the fight with the Asteria coming, I feel like was very um just started becoming very predictable, and it's a lot of it has to do with because I've read all of her books, especially whenever Bryce got sucked into the black hole and they're going on about how she's gonna die and stuff, and I'm like, ah, no, she's not, because not a lot of her main characters die. Actually, in fact, none of like the really really big main characters. Like yes, in Throne of Glass, the 13 minus man and all perish, but outside of that, like all of like the big main characters that you actually see point of views from, I think they're all alive. And then she's just done so many of like where they're dead and then they come back to life, where they're dead, they come back to life, and it just became too predictable. Part of me is almost ready for one of the main characters to die, but I'm also not because I don't want it to happen. But the whole like dying, coming back to life, dying, coming back to life, it's getting too predictable for me. Lydia having power of flame, and then a deer ship that the stag, she knew. They figured out the whole Throne of Glass stuff. I loved reading that. Again, I'm here for connections. I love it. Um the fact that she had fire, is she related to Aelin? Are we gonna talk about that? She could be a descendant of, well, she even um yeah, because they say it confirmed what Lydia had long guessed, why she was named Brannon, why she had named Brannon after the oldest legends from her family's bloodline. So she's related to Aelin. It's confirmed. Of a Fae king from another world, fire in his veins, who had created stags with power of flame. So she's related to Aelin. I think that's so cool. I want to know, like, cause like yes, like Rune is somehow related to um Rhys, and then Lydia's related to Aelin. I want to know how. I feel like Celine went in a little bit of how they're related with Rhys, but it wasn't fully like it was. I feel like it was clear. It was, I didn't catch it. So if you guys caught it, comment down below. Um, Tharian didn't even die. He got shot in the chest. He didn't die. I I honestly was fully prepared for Tharian to die. I think I would have been fine with it. I mean, like, not fine like I didn't like his character, because I did like his character, but just like I just feel like I'm ready for one of her characters to die. Do I want it to be Bryce or Hunt or Rune or Lydia? No. No. But I think I like when Tharian got shot in the chest, I was like, oh, he's done. He's gonna die. And then he didn't, and I was like, oh, okay. Um I almost started crying when Bryce died, and then she saw the pack of devils and Danica, and then they said light it up. I love that part. That was beyond amazing. Oh my god, this is turning to be such a long. I wasn't expecting it. She saw Lehaba again. I didn't listen to the audiobook. Okay, audiobook people, that's how I pronounce it. If you know how to pronounce it another way, you can tell me. Don't come for me. I I love the scene whenever they're talking about Rhys, and then they go Rhys and Randall, and they're like, he and Randall bonded about being overprotective dads. I think that's so cute, and that's just because like it kind of like gets you thinking about Rhys being a dad a little bit, and because we didn't really see a lot of it, and that was just, I loved it. It was so cute. And then how Bryce gave him Grydion, which I think is going to be very big. Um, I really think that everyone's gonna have to read the Crescent Series City for the next ACOTAR book, because then she's gonna have like Gwydion and all of this stuff, and they're gonna be like, well, how? So, um, loved that. I loved how at the very end it kind of mentioned Ethan had like a very subtle pull to go play Sunball again. I think that's just so. I want Ethan to go back to Sunball, because that just means that he's getting happier. And I like Ethan. I love Ethan. I'm here for wolves. Okay, call me cliche. I love the flying horses came back, and it was just such like Bryce's like childhood coming to life. Jelly Jubilee, all of that. It was so cute. I think I would have loved to see like her like playing with them. It was, I was so excited. And then like the fact that Baxian was the one that found him, like this tall, like brooding angel, just standing there, just watching all of these like Pegasus and he's just saying they're like, why did you guys leave me here? Come back. I can't do it was funny. I love the ending and just like the possibility for life and the possibility and it was very much I feel like the ending very much was left it open to be so many things. It left it open for there to be another book. It also left it open for it to be the end as well. I don't I feel like I've heard somewhere that she's thinking about writing another Crescent City book, but I've also heard that she's not. So I guess we'll find out. I I need ACOTAR 6 to come out. Okay, we're all ready for that. We need ACOTAR 6. Um so please, if you have any comments about anything of what I said, comment down below. I am ready to hear it. Um just a fair thing. If your comment has any spoilers, write in the top line spoilers and then what books. If it a spoiler for all of the Mass Universe or just specific ones, just I need you to say what it is because I would hate to ruin this book for anybody that is unprepared. So I am really surprised that that is my first sip of water throughout this whole thing. But I'm also not because I feel like I was ranting. Okay, so I will see you guys next week for the next book review. Bye, you guys.